Today on Fantasy 5, it's Mammals versus Reptiles. This is the podcast where we, the noise next door, create five-a-side football teams by using characters from fiction, history, and real life. Then we see the teams battle it out on the pitch to see who will be crowned victorious. I'm Tom, and I am joined today by Sam, and we are your pundits for this episode.
It is our job to provide criticism and insight into the managers' lineups, and later we'll be in charge of commentating on the highlights from today's fixture.
Today we are joined by our managers. It's Matt and Robin. First up, it's Matt. Matt, what team have you got today?
I've got Team Reptiles, which basically means I'm not going to get offended. I'm not going to get hurt. My feelings will stay intact today because I'm going to keep thick-skinned. Yes, and if you do hurt me, I'll just shed.
Wow, we're having fun already. And Robin, your team too, which means...
Yeah, I'm doing Mammals today, Tom, which means the exact opposite of Matt. I'm going to be overly sensitive, and if I shed, it will merely be fur all over Matt's slimy scales.
And normally here we'd put a spoiler warning. However, we're talking about animals. It's very hard to spoil animals.
I don't know, we might spoil evolution.
We're coming for you, Darwin. So here's the spoiler warning that's frankly not needed. However, what definitely is needed are your subscriptions and your reviews. If you can review the podcast on your preferred provider, do so. Give us 5 stars. We'd love it. And also, click subscribe. We'd love to have you listen every single week. But now all the admin's done, it's time to get down to the business of those starting fives. Our home team today is Reptiles. That's Matt. Matt, tell us about your team.
I'm going to begin in goal, which is the back of the group of players called a team. I'm representing the football knowledge on this particular one. I got it all. I'm starting with the Reticulated Python. Now, the Reticulated Python is a type of python, which is a snake. The reason why I picked him, he's the longest that you're going to get in the old reptile world. He's 23 feet long, if you really put the time in. Yeah, and I did a little research, and a five-a-side goal is about 16 feet wide. So he's even longer than the actual goal, which I think is really great. You can cover a lot of it. In fact, he's so much longer that the tactic that I shall employ is that he will hang from the crossbar in a sort of wibbly-wobbly W shape, therefore maximising the surface area. Because otherwise he's just going to be like one of those sort of draft excluders on the bottom of the goal, and that won't really help that much. Shoot over him. So already I'm very happy with the idea of blocking a goal with a big snake. I've been looking into it. Apparently, he actually has very quick reactions. They can catch mammals, which is great, very, very promising. They catch things like rats and pigs and cows, apparently. They've taken down whole cows.
Wow.
And, oh, my God.
Yeah, right? And then I looked into it. Okay, footballs are often made of a leather. They're actually made of cow leather. So it is in the goalkeeper's instinct to literally, when he sees this flying piece of cow come at him, to snatch it out of the air with his mouth. I mean, he's literally been genetically, or Darwinianly created to do this. Evolution has taken place to make a perfect goalkeeper.
It makes a horrifying amount of sense so far, Matt.
It's pretty good, isn't it? I did a bit of worrying though. I realised that it's called a reticulated python, which does sound a bit like relegated, but python sounds like pylon, which is basically what winners do when they score a goal. So that's nothing to worry about then.
Your football knowledge is getting way better.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I remember some stuff. I retain. Also, he's going to be quite a healthy player because luckily these snakes, they're actually hunted in the wild for their medicinal purposes. So he's essentially just made of medicine. So he's never going to get ill. Do you know what I mean?
Is it fair to say less arms than the normal goalkeeper?
Yeah, but he's one long arm.
Sure. Okay.
He's a 23-foot long arm. So that's how far away I can be to slap you on in the face for your criticism. So.
And in terms of, so he bites, he's a biting snake, not a constricting snake, is that right?
No, he is a constrictor, but it does need to begin with you. It's apparently when these snakes, when they constrict something like a pig, they don't just start like, hey little pig, do you want to come here for a hug? They need to get the initial attack on the pig, which is done by a little a rapid face movement. I actually had a housemate at uni who had a python, just a little 2-foot long one. and he used to dangle mice, and he would snatch the mice. But eventually, these things were just like frozen mice. They weren't very appealing, so they start to go for your thumb. You can actually whip and bite your thumb.
So these things are pretty fast. I mean, I like the quick reflexes. Obviously, the lack of hands, as Robin pointed out, could be considered a weakness. But when you're 23 feet long, who needs hands? You're more than hands.
Yeah,
you're a whole body of love.
It's exactly right. There's one thing which, if the whole Football Association's okay to go along with, he'll have to spend the whole of the interval transferring from one goal to the next for the second half, just because they can only move at 1 mile an hour. So.
Right.
Speed is an issue, but reaction is quick, but pace is not.
Yes, yeah, I would say shocking pace.
Okay.
I don't think 1 mile an hour is very fast.
No.
Well, maybe one of your other teammates could just... sometimes when a defender needs to take the goal kick for a goalkeeper, which is definitely going to need to happen in this case as well. Maybe it's also case. Maybe it's also the case that the defender just takes them across the other side for second half.
That would be nice. You know what? I think that is doable, Sam. Looking ahead on my list.
Yeah, all right.
So that's my goalkeeper, the Reticulated Python.
Hey, I'm very impressed with your first pick.
Thanks, man. Next up, I have a defenderer. Now, this one is a saltwater crocodile, which is the biggest type of crocodile you get. They can be about 20 foot long, which, once again, longer than the goalposts, than the goal width. I actually looked into it again. A five-a-side pitch is roughly sort of 90 foot wide. Now, the saltwater crocodile's 20 foot long. So if he kind of stands side on in the defending area and just runs backwards and forwards like a sort of like Pong or like a foosball player. That's the defensive strategy. They can go up to 18 miles an hour, which is actually very fast.
Is that the average size of a crocodile, or is that like the biggest?
When I've looked up the average size of these animals, if I wanted them to be big, I have gone for the largest ever recorded one.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So this is a specific. This isn't even just a generic crocodile. This is like the specific massive crocodile.
This is the famous
big crocodile.
one.
He's got a bit of fame as well. I like that.
Yeah. Already a fan base, so that's good for the social medias and whatnot. But yeah, 18 miles an hour, just running backward and forward across the defending line.
I just want to question this tactical decision here. Your main defender, the first defender, is literally just going to be ponging it up across the width of the pitch and hoping that he gets in the way of oncoming attacks.
I suppose. Well, he has eyes, so I guess he could. As his skills develop, he would eventually get that technique of I'm going to move to where the ball is.
Smart.
Which I think will work. Also, as a defender, he can't be tackled, which is nice because he's already lying on the floor. It's just inherently what a crocodile is doing. So no tackles for this guy.
So he can't fall over, you mean? He can still have the ball taken from him.
Oh, that's technically what a tackle is. It's not supposed to be knock the person down.
Most of the time in modern football, people don't fall down because, fouls are so tightly watched. So that any sort of stealing of possession is considered a tackle.
He might have problems with that. They're very, very short legs.
Kicking's going to be tough as well.
Yeah, he's like 40% tail, 40% gut, and then a head on the end.
So I guess it's going to be mainly headering.
And tailing, if that's allowed. It's not a handball, is it, if it's your butt?
Yeah.
I assume a tail is technically...
Absolutely.
I think tail is going to be the main limb. Is a tail a limb? The appendage that is going to be actually moving the ball. Because I also kind of think, so you just said off the head, I don't know how good their leaping reach is.
No.
Yeah. I don't think they can get a lot of height.
No, but aggressive, but massive and aggressive. I think that's it's still a good tactic to have at the back.
Yeah, one of his. I'm not going to call this an aggressive tactic, but he looks like a giant handbag, right? Because he's made of crocodiles. So he's made of like leather. So one of the tactics is going to be he stands in one spot like a handbag in the middle of a dance floor. And then everyone will just instinctively want to dance around him so that they don't get hit on by boys. So I'm going to use that as a tactic at some point.
So you've got a defender who's a handbag and a goalkeeper who is some shoes.
Yeah, that's what's going on there.
We have established in the podcast before that accessories are allowed, and you've really taken that to the next level, and you've just got actual accessories now being the main tactic of your defender.
Absolutely.
There's an interesting thing there where if you brought another handbag and put it on the pitch, you could have a handbag and your actual defender, and then the attacker would be like, oh my god, where's the defender? I don't know, I'm just looking at 2 Burberry handbags.
Right. If my accessory has an accessory.
Yeah.
Loophole. Love it. Thank you for that suggestion, Robin. I'm going to take it. Look at that. The opposite team just helping me out.
Madness.
With such a strong tactic. Next up, we have one of the winger. Now, is a winger an actual type of player?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a midfield or attacking player that tends to play down the wing of the pitch, on the edge, you know.
Right, and they want to be fast, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so may I introduce you to the bearded dragon?
Oh, please.
The bearded dragon. It's a little lizard. It's a teeny weeny little lizard. But if you look on Google, you do find he is the fastest reptile on one of the websites I looked at. So he goes 25 miles an hour. Now, that was only one website. For some reason, all the rest of them all say he goes at like top speed 9 miles an hour. But if you were to believe the one that was 25 miles an hour, how fast is that? It's incredible.
That is suspiciously fast, especially considering everyone else is saying 9 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Little internet, they're trying to throw you for a ringer there. But yeah, so 25 miles an hour.
We'll just accept 25 miles an hour, sure.
Yeah. So,
It's just worth accepting that whatever the largest amounts are that you can find, the better. When it's the crocodile, it's the biggest. When it's the speed of it's the quickest.
Yeah, that's why so many people put their willies on the internet. So, now, of course, he's a bearded dragon. So he has this sort of spiky beard face. Yeah. Like his entire head is made of like a spiky beard, which I assume would have rather good grip on the ball when it comes to contact. So he's, I'll be honest, tiny little legs, not going to do a lot of kicking, but he can nut it a lot. So I figure if your head is made of spikes, but not like it's not going to puncture the ball, it's just going to have good grip. Like, presumably, if football players, if the front of their shoes were made of hairbrushes, they'd get a lot better grip.
Yeah, it's I think that every professional footballer would have hairbrushes on their shoes if they could, but it is against football law.
I guess that's kind of what studs are.
Yeah.
Just large bristles.
Yeah, for the ground.
For the ground,
yeah. You try not to kick with the studs. Is that right?
That's true.
I think that the problem with a ball hitting the studs is that it adds an unpredictability to where the ball's going to go. So I do worry that your little bearded dragon is going to go for a header and he's going to have a lot less control about where it's going, because if it hits a spike at a funny angle, it could go anywhere.
That is fair. It's a good sort of general spread of spikes all around his head. So I'm hoping that there's nothing too irregular, but it's a fair point, Tom. Now, also other little facts about the bearded dragon that come in handy. They apparently wave to each other, so their communication on the pitch is actually pretty good. Like these little guys, they just wave their little hands to each other as communication. So that's awesome. Out on the lawn when they're playing. Also, he's a dragon, so he's already a legend. Boom.
Hey. Legend of the game.
They're quite small. Are they small, bearded dragons?
Oh, they are smaller than a ball, yeah. They are not big.
So, but people could tread on them, and with those spikes, that could hurt.
Exactly. Oh, if the baddies are barefoot, then they're going to regret standing on this guy's head. Yeah. And finally, the last thing I found was that on petmd.com, they say that, this is an actual quote, these little lizards casually allow their owners to dress them in clothing. So they'll be up for wearing the kit.
Casually.
Yeah, I was like, on this website, they're quite common as a pet. And on the top 3 things that it says, like keep them in a nice little terrarium, feed them lots of flies or whatever. And they don't hate it when you put clothes on them.
I love the addition of the word casually there, as if they're fine if it's shorts and flip-flops, but if you dare touch them with a tuxedo, that is it. Lizard is going to lose its mind.
They do not do formal, which is bad.
I have clicked on bearded dragon, and I was just looking it up, and then I've clicked on the images button, and the first 3 images, when you type in bearded dragon, are Halloween costumes for bearded dragons. There's a wizard, a bat. I don't know why you're turning it into a bat, and also just a leash with a cardigan.
So, that's one of the top things on PetMD. It says they don't mind being leashed. Quite leashable.
Crazy.
Wow, so they're very tame.
Yeah,
very tame little creatures. Are you worried that they're not going to have enough sort of killer instinct on the pitch if they're very tameable, if they're very placid?
I reckon that they're going to have a bit of killer instinct because he's cold-blooded, isn't he? He's just going to have cold-blooded, ruthless thoughts going through his little bearded head.
There's potential of selling beards as merchandise.
Definitely.
Potentially.
Think of all the, insert name of bearded footballer here. It's a great example, isn't it?
Sam? Bearded footballer? Ooh.
Yeah, I thought you were going to hit me with 2 words.
I should have been ready. I came immediately to Xabi Alonso. I'm sticking with it.
Exactly. Shabby Bonzo. He's got one. He's very popular.
Shabby Bonzo.
Shabby Bonzo.
Moving on from shabby. I understand that's good. I wasn't sure if a wingerer was a position, but that's good. What about a headerer?
Mm-hmm. A headerer is definitely not a position in football.
But is it a type of attacker?
A skill. Well, you might have like a large centre forward who is there predominantly to be a threat in the air.
Great. Okay. That's that one. I want an air threat. So the problem with a lot of these reptiles is they're very low to the ground. It seems to be a common threat amongst the reptiles. So I've got the king cobra as my headerer. Now, you think he's a snake. He's going to be low to the ground. He is the longest type of venomous snake, right? They get to about like 16 foot long if you look for the world record holding the longest king cobra, obviously. Now, what they can do is they can stand up. These are the ones with the sort of the neck frill, like Indiana Jones walks past people snake charming these things. It's that kind of snake. So they've got the wide frill, and they can stand up on end, up to 5 foot tall, which is basically as tall as like Sam and Robin in The Noise Next Door.
Combined.
Yeah, on each other's shoulders. So, so the idea is that I'd have I'm calling it the tallest reptile, because when you type in tallest reptile in Google, just doesn't tell you. It just tells you longest. Everything's measured in length in the reptile world.
Well, if you stand them on end, that's just then height, isn't it?
Yeah, but just some of them don't. They've got these big tail bums sticking in the way. So yeah, this guy, 5 foot tall, he's going to be in there for the headers. He's got a hood, obviously, which increases his surface area when headering, or technically it's neckering, because the hood is below the face. So you can neck a ball. That's legal, isn't it?
Yeah. That is totally legal to neck a ball.
Sweet beans. All right. Now, obviously, King Cobra, a lot of lucrative endorsement opportunities. Obviously, things like Cobra beer, king-size mattresses, and also one that kind of combines it, company bras, i.e. co-bras. So, like when a company has just like a company bra that anyone's allowed to use. It could be the face
that's a common thing, yeah.
Yeah, man. Obviously, that's good for the sort of advertising and whatnot. There is a downside. His name is King Cobra. So on the pitch, it does sound like you're swearing when you shout out his name. You know what I mean? Like, say, "Oi, where's that King Cobra? Pass that King Cobra." So what it sounds like is you're just being bleeped. But I think that actually might work as a benefit, because I think the baddies will just think that they've got a hearing problem.
So you're trying to disorient them with hoping that they can hear the commentary, is that? Or do you mean
on the pitch as well? As long as all the people on the reptile team are all going like, "Oh, let's pass to King Cobra." They're just like, "Oh my god, I think I can't hear. My hearing's no."
But hearing has a lot to do with balance, doesn't it? If you feel like your hearing's off, maybe they'll balance or sort of
bingo,
become unsteady.
Bingo times. Yeah, man.
I mean, it's a tactic I wasn't expecting anyone to use, is feigning the opponent's deafness, but here we are.
Yeah. Now, I realise that killing people on the other team is a foul.
I think it would probably constitute a red card, yeah.
Red card? It might be worth it. So, now, he's actually the most biggest venomous snake in the world, and I was looking into his bite. So I think a tactic could be, if the game's not looking well, you need to take one of the opposition out. He does a little bit of a bite. Now, it doesn't instantly look like the opposition dies, okay? I looked up on a medical symptoms list. These are the symptoms. Now, these are actual like medical terminology symptoms, so I'll give you the translation if you're not a doctor listening to this right now. So the first symptom is severe pain, which is sort of like the ouchie boo-boos. You get blurred vision, which is like wearing sort of fuzzy-wuzzy goggles. You get vertigo, which is like a sort of Hitchcock film. You get drowsiness, which is basically sort of sleepy snuggle times. Yeah. Paralysis, which is like you got piss legs, and cardiovascular collapse, which is where your blood keeps falling over. And finally, you end up in a coma, which is like super, super sleepy snuggle times. So all it's going to look like is they just kind of get a bit wobbly, can't see where they're going, fall down and have a sleep. And so I don't think you'd get sent off for that.
Interesting.
I suppose if he could hide the initial bite from the referee, if the referee's looking the other way, a swift bite.
2 words for you guys.
Yo.
Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
Oh, is he a biter?
He did get suspended for quite a few games for doing it repeatedly.
Okay.
That is a worry.
Suspended, but not put in prison. So worth bearing in mind. Now, I've got one final for my 5, which is the other defenderer, because I ran out of positions that you'd have on a football team. A leatherback turtle.
Oh.
It's a very big turtle here. Now, what these guys, this is the tactic I'm going for. They lay like 100 eggs. And they lay the biggest eggs in the old reptile world. They're arguably only the size of billiard balls. But what's a billiard ball? It's a football from far away. So the leatherback turtle, in his own half, is going to just spend the first half of the match just laying eggs. Just like 100 of these little billiard balls, scattering them around. And if you're in the baddies and you're looking from over your half, you're just like, I've kicked the ball over there, but I do not know where it's gone. I mean, there's balls everywhere. I don't know which one's mine. It's going to disorient. It's going to confuse them. Also, the turtle itself is like 2 meters long, so it'd be kind of like having a basketball player lying down in the middle of the pitch with an upturned plastic sandpit on him. That's just going to be in the way.
So, just to clarify, the leatherback turtle tactic here is while he's defending, he's going to lay... Also, he is going to lay eggs. Is that what you're claiming?
Wait, I need to recast. Okay, yeah, let's go. We'll go for a female.
Okay, so she is going to lay eggs to confuse. But then what happens in the second half when suddenly now they've switched sides and you're attacking? Are there not going to be turtles everywhere?
That's a fair point. That's when you switch. First of all, you get your leatherback out there. You need to switch with the sub. I think for the sub, you then go for the desperate leaf chameleon. Which is a really cute little guy. He's only 3 centimeters long. And I'll admit, not going to be great at kicking the ball. But if you know that a 3 centimeter long little lizard just come on, you're the baddies. Now, what he's going to do, he's going to go in to the friendly penalty area. So our penalty area.
Yeah, sure.
And he's just going to hang around in that penalty area. So every time the baddies come into that area, they're going to be terrified of standing on this 3 centimeter long lizard. Otherwise, it's instant penalty, just giving away penalties. So he's a penalty magnet. So you've got eggs everywhere on one half of the pitch and a lizard that no one wants to stand on the other half of the pitch in the second half. Yeah.
Do you remember, Sam, at the beginning of this, we said to Matt, your football knowledge is really coming along.
Yeah, and then now we're hearing about the baddies.
The baddies and covered in eggs. And look, Matt, it's exciting. Have you got any further tactics here, or have you given us the full impact of your tactical brilliance for Team Lizards?
So those are all the players. I mean, I'll mention obviously am I the coach or am I the manager?
Manager.
You're the manager, but you can have coaches.
That's good. I need a coach, someone with actual like football experience, because I clearly don't have a lot. So I'm going to go for the Aldabra Tortoise. This is a tortoise that there was one of them called Jonathan, so we'll have to get him, who lived to 189 years old. Let's assume that he still is. Let's face it, when you're the world record holder for the oldest tortoise, it possibly means you're dead now. But so he lived to 189 years old, which means he was there possibly when football was invented. So he is like... He was there, knows all the rules, which is something I don't. So he can educate me and educate the players.
It's good. He's a veteran.
Yeah, exactly. Proper veteran. If we need a band, then just have a rattlesnake, is the most musical reptile I can find.
Yeah.
And that's the whole shebang. That's the reptiles for you.
I've got to be honest, I'm slightly surprised that we've gone for a very small bearded dragon, a tiny little leaf chameleon, and not like a Komodo dragon. A powerful, venomous, hunting nightmare.
I know, the Komodo dragons, it's not that far from the size of the saltwater crocodile, but I figured, well, you're going to have one big boy, so I just went for saltwater crocodile there.
That's fair, they might start attacking each other.
You're right, that is one of the rules of football. Only one big boy per team.
So yeah, would you like a little recap?
Please, give us your 5. Who is it?
In goal, the Reticulated Python. In defence, a saltwater crocodile and a leatherback turtle. On the wing, a bearded dragon, and as the headerer, a king cobra.
That was Matt's reptile team. We're going to take a short break and then be back with Robin and his mammals.
A podcast from producerpaul.co.uk.
Welcome back, and it is time for Robin to hit us with the team of mammals. Who have you got?
Oh, hit you I shall, Tom. I'm going to start also in goal with one of my. I've actually got two big boys. Now I know the rules of football state you're only allowed one big boy on the pitch, but I hope that it's okay that I have two big boys, and this is one of my big boys. In goal, we have got a silverback lowland gorilla. That is going to be my goalkeeper. Now there's hundreds of reasons why these things are. First of all, they are massive. They are absolutely enormous. They can grow to approximately 1.6 meters, okay? And they have an average one. This isn't an especially big one. I've not done a mat and found the biggest one ever to have lived. This is just like an average one. Has the strength of 20 adult humans combined. 20 adult humans.
Wow.
That's so strong. He's going to catch the absolute bum off of a football being booted at him from one of Matt's many players with no legs. It's going to be fantastic. I feel so good for that. Also, they're incredibly intelligent gorillas, famously very, very clever. They can use tools, so I feel like, the putting on of the gloves is going to be fine. And also, they do have opposable thumbs. So that means that they'll just be able to wear just regular Reebok football gloves, which is just great. There's no necessary sort of tailoring involved here. I think that's really, really good. Importantly, silverback lowland gorillas can be taught sign language, right? So, Matt's bearded dragon is waving. I'm having a full conversation with my guy because I will be able to communicate with him from the sidelines with sign language. Now, that's great for lowland gorillas, but that would be such a good tactic just generally in football. Rather than screaming swear words from the sideline, just a few little gestures, a little, oh, what's he doing with his fingers? Yeah, that means I'm going to kick it again.
I got that reference.
Yeah.
I know that tactic. Kick it again. Yeah.
So that's a few of the things. Now, there's way more. The first thing is we know that we get very emotionally attached to gorillas. I'm talking of Harambe. Who remembers Harambe? The scenes, poor Harambe. Harambe was the gorilla who I'm going to use the term got hold of a toddler in a zoo cage, and they shot him, and there was like a huge, huge outpouring of sympathy for Harambe. So people feel for these guys, right? So if he gets injured, he's going to be like the star of my team. Like the fans are going to absolutely adore him. I've also been watching a lot of documentaries in the picking of my team. And so I've seen a few documentaries because obviously they grow to about 1.6 meters. However, if we're doing Matt's tactic and looking at the biggest ever one, I give you the documentary, The Mighty Joe Young.
The documentary,
yeah. That gorilla was massive, really, really big. And also, why stop, guys, at sign language? Another documentary. It's a very, very good documentary called George of the Jungle, and that gorilla can be taught to speak English and serve cocktails. So I'll be doing that. That's going to be great at the benefits, at the fundraisers. Oh, I'll just get a cocktail. Oh my God, it's the silverback gorilla. He's serving me a cocktail and he's speaking in English. Unbelievable stuff.
And this is your goalkeeper?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And do you think he's particularly adept in goal? Apart from the ability to wear gloves.
Yeah, well, that's obviously a huge thing. At least my goalkeeper has arms. So swinging from the bar, amazing. They have both. They can use both their hands and their feet to the same level of dexterity. And they're massive as well. So they're just going to be a unit, a lump in the way. In terms of agility, they're incredibly agile. And I just think that he's going to be a real linchpin in my team. If you think about Kerjak from the Tarzan film, they're very loyal, incredibly loyal, and a hell of a temper as well. So he's going to be very loyal to the pack, and that's my goalkeeper.
Just to double check there, that's the Tarzan film, not the documentary like Mighty Joe Young and George of the Jungle.
It's a documentary film, Tom. Don't be...
Right, I see. I see.
Well, speaking of documentaries like Mighty Joe Young, why not go bigger and choose the documentary King Kong?
No, that's a sci-fi film, Sam. Don't be ridiculous.
Okay, fair enough. It's definitely strong, definitely powerful.
Yeah.
You keep harking back to the size being huge of 1.6 meters, but that is shorter than Tom and Matt from The Noise Next Door, in fairness.
To me, 1.6 meters is just an unattainable size. I think the main thing is the strength, right? 20 adult humans in a 1 point.
Power.
So if you take somebody short, a little bit shorter than Tom or Matt, who are, what are you guys, 6 foot in feet? You're 6'2", roughly?
Yeah, I'm 6'3".
So if you take 6'2", but put 20 strength of Tom in that package, that's a strong package.
Well, it's about 20 strength of Matt. It's about 10 strength of Tom.
Yeah, it's true. He is a very strong boy. And yeah, that's my goalkeeper. Tom, Sam, any thoughts on that?
I guess my only worry for you, Robin, is that in the very last episode that we aired of this, I had King Kong in goal, and it didn't work out so well. So I think you've got a little mini version of King Kong. Are you not worried that his goalkeeping record is going to be similar?
I had completely forgotten about that. I suppose my main thing for this is that King Kong specifically is distracted by pretty ladies, whereas my guy is way more distracted by throwing his own feces. He's not worried about pretty ladies at all.
Yeah.
And by small children.
And by small children, R.I.P. Harambe.
Okay, so we're putting the family section that are watching the game at the other end of the pitch, which is going to be a nightmare when they change halves.
At half time, everybody has to get up and move, just so that temptation is not in my goalkeeper's face. All right, I'm moving forward one to defence. Now, this is going to sound mad, but listen, in defence, I have a pig in defence. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Not even a specific pig, just a pig.
Just a pig. A Gloucester old spot. I've got a Gloucester old spot. A pig. Just a Gloucester old spot pig in defence. Now, I'm going to tell you for why. You're going to love it. First of all, pigs are one of the most intelligent animals in the animal kingdom, right? They're more intelligent than anything else that's going to feature on this team. They're more intelligent than gorillas. They're more intelligent than human children. Okay, they're more intelligent in the opposing manager's case than adult humans. They have excellent memories, amazing memories. For years, they can remember things. So if they come up against a play or a tactic, so the old handbag crocodile tactic, my pig's going to recognise that. That's a Burberry bag. That's not a crocodile. He knows. So they recognise objects, right? They're incredibly social. So he's going to be popping round to the silverback gorilla's place for dinner. He's going to be bonding with the rest of their team. It's going to be amazing. And another documentary. This one is a book. This is a documentary book. There's a documentary. It's called Animal Farm. And in Animal Farm, Napoleon, the pig, goes on to rule the farm because he's just an amazingly controlling character. He can control all the other animals, right? So I'm going to use him in defense to really be like pulling the strings and sort of getting people to do what he wants. He's the brains of the operation, okay? And he's also my captain for that reason. In the documentary book Animal Farm, he's based on Stalin. Napoleon the pig is based on Stalin. So I have an animal with the potential of Joseph Stalin on my team. Matt's got the animal with the potential of a bag. Okay. Also, adaptability, Tom. Adaptability. You think you've got a pig, you're like, oh, look, that's a pig. And then suddenly, what's that? That pig's being a sheepdog. That's right, like Babe. It's incredible. They're incredible because they're so clever, you can train them to be sheepdog. Right? So when on the off-season, he doesn't care about that. He's got loads of work going, rounding up sheep. Keeping his fitness.
Okay, so you've got a pig.
Gloucester old spot.
I guess also if there's a very bad injury, we've got a delicious dinner after the match as well.
Regardless of injury.
I can't believe you said that, you pervert.
all the protein. Oh.
Well,
I'll be interested to see how many other meat eaters you've got in your team coming up.
There is something coming that I'll get to that. Yes, Sam, you're absolutely right. It's a consideration. There's a reason he's in defence, and there's a reason he's that far back.
Also, one of the first things Matt told us about a reticulated python was that they ate pigs.
I know that. I was actually concerned about that. However, a few things. First of all, if the reticulated python eats the pig, that's a red card. We're happy with that. That was said. That's a red card. Off goes the goalie. It might be a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Sure.
My defender for the goalie, that's quite a good sacrifice. I might be happy with that.
And I think multiple different tribes and peoples of the world have sacrificed pigs before as well. I think it's a real nod to culture within a team, and I like that.
Yeah. And good little bit of crowd stuff. You know, you can imagine the commentators. Oh, he's made a real pig's ear out of that. Good stuff. Good stuff from the commentary. And so that's why I've got a pig. Stalin sheepdog pig.
I love it.
Good. You should love it. We'll move forward into midfield. Now, in midfield, I've gone for something quite crazy. And that is an Indian flying fox. Now, this is a mammal, the only mammal that can fly. Now, there are other mammals that can glide, but this is the only mammal with the ability of active flight. Okay? It's the only mammal with the ability of true flight.
Continue. I will comment after this statement.
We're talking. Sorry, I should qualify that. The flying fox is a form of bat, right? So bats are the only mammals that can fly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
was going to say.
I really should have clarified
the entire
that.
bat family can fly.
Bats.
You idiot.
This is a bat. It's a bat, so it can fly. Bats can fly. Bats can fly. But this is... So,
It's like going, the fruit bat is the only mammal that can fly. No other mammal apart from fruit bats can fly.
this mammal is the only mammal that can fly. It's a bat. It's a bat.
Yeah.
It's actually not just a bat. It's a megabat. That's what this is. It's a species of megabat, right? Which is better than a regular bat. If you think about a bus, and then that's a bus, and a megabus is a better one. Good. Glad we all agree. Now,
I have to contest that. The megabus is a terrible thing, whereas a bus can often be quite a delightful event.
if you sat on
Megabuses are some of the worst buses in the country.
if you sat on a double-decker bus all the way to Glasgow, I bet you'd wish you were on a megabus. I bet you would. And also £3. Absolute bargain.
I wish I was on a train,
Well,
mate.
yeah, mega train would be good. Anyway, can we talk about my megabat? It's
You bought up the bus.
They have wingspans of 5'7". For reference, that's 1 inch shorter than I am as a whole wingspan. Right, that's really really
It's
cool.
the size of a small gorilla.
Now, one of the things that they do, okay, that flying foxes do, is that the mothers, so I'm specifically using a female flying fox, okay, because they're slightly bigger, because they are made for childbirth, and what they can do is they carry their babies with them while they're airborne, okay. Now, I did some research on this. A baby flying fox weighs up to 500 grams, okay, half a kilogram, and their mothers carry them while they're airborne, flapping around, having a lovely time. An average football weighs between 383 and 440 grams, meaning a mother fruit bat would definitely be able to pick up a football in its claws and fly. Now, its claws are its feet, biologically speaking, because they're under every single mammal has both wrists and ankles, and it's underneath their ankles, so it's technically their feet. So there is no handball there. So all of Matt's players are less than knee height. How are they going to stop a flyer? A big flyer.
It's a worry.
Wow.
So this is in the midfield, really sort of all over the pitch, right? They're incredibly maneuverable. Here's a fun fact about them. They get their freak on hanging upside down, right? That's how they get their rocks off. And so I thought that means that they're used to hanging upside down and getting down to it. So in terms of a corner, I've got no problem with my flying fox hanging off the top of the bar just to cover that top little corner there. Same is true if in a dead ball position, if there's a free kick coming in, just to block that little top corner, then the silverback gorilla hasn't got to worry about it at all. Also, they like city living. Right, that's something that they're really, really adapted to. They like city living, which is really good for social reasons, because they can go and hang in town with Pig. See, Babe, Pig in the City. So the cohesion's good so far.
So do they live in cities and they've got wings that are as tall as you are wide?
And bodies as well.
And they hang out in cities?
Yeah, they live in cities.
That's awful. What cities?
I didn't actually take down the exact
It's not
number.
one in Brighton, is there? I don't want to meet that.
This is the Indian one, right? So
Yeah, the
cities.
Indian flying fox, but they're sort of in that whole area. Apparently, flying foxes, generally speaking, can form colonies of like up to 2,000 flying foxes, and they're like the Indian one is a particularly big one, but like they're always quite big. They're always like a couple of foot. And imagine, apparently, in a cave in Taiwan, there was like 2,000 of these things. Imagine being the poor guy who turns on his head torch, like, just like, but they can't do that thing where they like the way that bats communicate using the supersonic. They can't do that. They have eyes and they see using their eyes, because they're better than bats. They're mega bats, so they can see.
I do have a question for you. Bats, particularly these big ones, pretty big disease vectors. How do we feel about them potentially spreading disease to the other animals on the pitch?
It's a very, very good point, Sam. I hadn't thought of it. I can't think of any recent times where bats have caused any problems with disease, though. I can't think of a single time that's happened.
There you go.
I think this is all conjecture. It's a really good point, Sam. I haven't. That wasn't something that I considered. I suppose my interest there would lie in: can pigs and gorillas get COVID? Can they? I know dogs can't.
I think there was a reported case of tigers getting it.
No, was
that's. Have you?
And dogs.
I'm excited for. Oh dear. Yeah, well, definitely. I know that there was a case like in the New York Zoo. I think two tigers were definitely had
I wasn't
it,
necessarily being specific to COVID, but like just in general that problem with disease transmission.
It's a really good point, Sam, that I hadn't honestly thought about. I guess my feeling is we're not going to be eating each other. There's a few, but it's a weakness that I hadn't considered prior to this point.
Okay, what do the flying foxes eat?
They're fruit eaters, which is mad. When you see them, you're like, you definitely eat kids. Like, there's no way that you eat fruit, but they eat fruit like mangoes and stuff. They love it.
The only one who eats kids currently is your gorilla goalkeeper.
Well, he didn't eat the kid. He just sort of dragged it round like a blanket.
Okay,
Which, to
Robin,
be fair, is
please tell me
exactly
you've got
what,
a tiger.
and that's happened to you before, right? With an ape-like creature.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and this is a side note. When I was a kid, I went to Singapore, and there was this orangutan, which was a really famous orangutan. It used to walk around the zoo. It was a zoo, I think it was called Fantasia, the zoo, and it used to walk around, and it was actually in the Telegraph a few years ago because it died. And at the time, I'm ginger, and I had zero hair. Like, I used to have like a real buzz cut, like a little ginger tennis ball. And you used to go and take photos with this orangutan. It just used to wander around and have a load of time. And I know animal rights, it's not right, but it was the 90s, guys. We didn't know about those things. And so I was there taking a photo with my mum, and this orangutan sat on my lap and started like stroking my head. And mum was like, oh, that's a bit weird. So sort of like reached to get my hand, and the orangutan got super aggressive towards my mum and tried to like walk off with me. This is pretty cute. I loved it. It was nice. Anyway, let's back to business. Yeah, we're going to move into my attacking position. I'm playing I've got two attackers. Yes, it's a bloody Bengal tiger. It's a Bengal tiger in my attack. Now, why a Bengal tiger? First of all, because they're great. That's about tigers. Now, in both mammalsoftheworld.com, which was done by public vote, and a blog from Monterey Bay from a guy called Tiger Tom, tigers are chosen to be the best mammal in the world. The best one. The best. Out of all the mammals, tigers are the best one. They grow to 3.3 meters, which is more than double the size of my already massive gorilla. That's bigger than both of you. I think actually if you lay next to each other, like end to end, I think that would still be bigger than you. They get to 670 pounds. Okay? Now, the downside of a tiger, hadn't thought about the COVID thing, but they're not the smartest. I found this on a forum. Apparently, compared to dogs, tigers are about the same as a dog, but they've still got a better brain. But compared to a monkey, a tiger is a damn fool. But listen, it's there as the apex predator on my team, top of the food chain. It's instinct, it's raw aggression, and it's fear factor, right? You come onto the pitch and there's a tiger pacing, that's going to have a mental impact on you. I worried about the pig, genuinely. I was like, putting a pig and a tiger. I'm not worried about the flying fox or the gorilla, really. They'll have the fox can fly, the gorilla can fight. But the pig I was worried about. However, if you feed a tiger eats approximately one deer-sized animal per week. So a pig, first of all, a mere morsel, not worth attacking, okay? I'll have some sausage on hand in case it kicks off. Not sausage, because that's... I'll have some steak. I'll have some steak on hand. However, directly after a tiger is eaten, the next day, they're agile, they're back to their normal, they're not like bloated and full, and they won't kill again for 4 to 5 days. Even if you put a living deer in front of it, it won't kill it.
Wow.
Okay, because they don't kill just for the they don't just kill for the sake of it. They kill if they're threatened or in order to eat, right? And so if I fed it, so I'll feed it 2 days before game day, recovery day, then it's fine, right? Also, this is the final biological fact about tigers. They can leap forward because all of their muscles are in their back legs, right? So they can leap forward 30 feet in one jump, which means in 4 jumps, my tiger can do the whole pitch. And that's from a standing start. Okay? From a standing start, my tiger can do the length of an entire pitch, which I've got in meters, annoyingly, but it's 27.5 meters. So I did a Google thing, and it worked out that that's 4 leaps. It can do the whole pitch.
That is very impressive. I am impressed by your tiger attacker.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't really discussed this so far, but I'm assuming a 4-legged animal can use all 4 of its legs, because it's not like a tiger's got hands, is it? It's just 4 legs. 4 legs, 4 feet. I mean, referee Sam?
Yeah, Sam.
They're all legs. Yeah.
They're all legs. Confirmed. Continue.
Great, that's good news. I mean, that's it for my tiger. I didn't know about the COVID thing, and that's obviously a consideration. However, my counter-argument to that would be COVID has been a thing for a year now, and professional sport is still happening, right? Yes, people are getting it. Yes, some people are getting sick, but it is still going on. The Super Bowl happened. The Premier League is still going. The Six Nations is currently on. So I guess we can live with it. We've got good team doctors.
I would say that the Fantasy 5 League is probably up there with the Super Bowl in terms of like world recognition. So I think that seems appropriate. Good on them.
I'm going to say that you can't borrow any medicine from my python.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the python, actually, Matt, because I'm going to move on to my final position before the end. Now, listen, this is going to be an attacking player as well. I'm going to give him, quietly, I'm not going to say this loud, because I'm going to give him the role of poacher, but I'm not going to tell anybody else that because I don't want to upset the tiger. Okay, so he's got the role of poacher, but nobody needs to know that. So sort of an aggressive sort of popping in and out forward. I'm going for the Indian grey mongoose. Mm-hmm. Now, Tom oohs, because he's right too. The mongoose is known for its ability to fight and kill venomous snakes, okay? Especially cobras.
No.
They've got this thing called, and I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of this, but here we go. Acetylcholine receptors, which means they are immune to venom. They're immune to venom.
Oh, King Cobra.
Immune to venom, no venom. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, actually, with King Cobra specifically in mind, another documentary. I've got 3 words for you, madly. It's Rikki-Tikki-Tavi. You all know Rikki-Tikki-Tavi. Rikki-Tikki-Tavi was a book written by Rudyard Kipling. It was in the Jungle Book, and it's about an Indian grey mongoose who kills 2 cobras, 2 massive, giant king cobras, butchers them, absolutely butchers them, defends humans, messes up 2 separate cobras, right? Now, I was worried about how dangerous they are. So if you Google, can a mongoose kill humans? The answer is not normally. Implying that in an abnormal situation, a mongoose could kill a human. What? Oh! It's massive! It's absolutely massive, and that's it. Oh, one final thing. In daylight hours, they chatter relentlessly, which will be really annoying. All the time, just constantly. So he's just going to be like, oh, I'm kicking a ball, isn't it lovely? Oh, look at that, it's a goal, oh, I'm having a lovely time.
They'll be chattering around my handbag.
I have a question. You've got him in an attacking role. How's he going to be scoring goals?
Yeah.
Or is he more of an assist player?
No, that's good, Tom.
Is it a poacher?
Yeah. The way he's going to be scoring goals is he's nimble, right? They're really agile. Compared to the aggression from my Bengal tiger, he's going to be able to get through those tiny little gaps, right? So we've got this huge lump of a saltwater crocodile ponging back and forth over the pitch. He's going to be able to see the gap and just zoop straight in. He'll probably be able to run under a crocodile, to be honest, because they're quite nimble and small. And so just like, I'm imagining just the agility. Okay, so sort of, I just think that'll be a really useful thing on this team, which is mainly about power and intelligence. I just think the agility will be super useful. Speaking of agility, I do have an impact sub, which is just a common rat. Anyone who was listening to the Pixar Pokemon episode, we did cover this already, but rats are the fastest thing ever invented. Okay, if you remember, we found a well-researched YouTube video that found that above a car, Dash the superhero with super speed, all sorts of fast things, just a normal rat is the fastest thing in the world. So the rat is my impact sub.
The internet doesn't lie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I would argue, though, that was referring specifically to the universe according to Pixar, so it could just be that rats in Pixar are very real, whereas, of course, you're dealing with an actual real rat.
Yeah.
And we can clock their top speed compared to the other animals on the pitch.
Well, the rat in Ratatouille is just a normal rat. So I think Tom, that the person who researched that video about most speedy Pixar things knows a little bit more about fast animals than you do. Thank you.
No, I don't think that's the case at all.
Well, I'm interested in speed. Like, there's no cheetah here, which is traditionally, apart from second only to the rat, regarded as the second fastest creature, up to 80 miles an hour. I mean, Matt's team in the Reptiles was getting really excited about a 20-mile-an-hour animal. However, we've neglected on your team a cheetah that can run up to 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, you're right. They're quite. Listen, I'm quite worried that they're too nimble. They're too little. They're not going to last.
They're too nimble.
They're not going to last of an impact, are they? Like anyone who clatters into a cheetah is going to really, really hurt it. And tigers can actually run 49 to 65 kilometers an hour.
That is pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is still pretty quick, and so I'm not too worried. You are right, Sam. I could be faster, but 65 kilometers an hour. We've got a rat that can probably run 120. We're good.
That's true. I mean, a cheetah could still be a good impact sub. You know, like 3 words for you, Oligona Solskjaer.
Funny enough, when I was doing my impact sub thing, I thought, hey, I might do a 2 words for you like Sam does, but the only one I could think of was Shane Long. So
is he from Westlife?
No, he's a Saints player, Southampton player. Listen, I only know Southampton players. He's quite fast, but quite bad. And that's my Fantasy 5.
Loving it. Robin, give us your Fantasy 5 starting Mammals.
Good. In goal, I've got a silverback lowland gorilla. In defence, I have a pig. In midfield, I have an Indian flying fox. My attacker is a Bengal tiger. And then I also have an Indian grey mongoose as another attacker.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got our two teams. We are going to see now how our managers feel about their chances pre-match. Let's see how our managers feel about their chances. First of all, Matt, you're the home team today. So, 2 questions. 1, what's your home stadium? And 2, how are you feeling now you've seen Robin's mammal team?
The home stadium is going to have to be a really big terrarium. So we're going to go for the world's largest terrarium, which is in the Warsaw's Galeria shopping mall in Poland.
So you just get in a terrarium?
Yeah, in a really big terrarium. Well, because we like hot, we like cold, we like wet, we like swamp. I mean, that's the situation.
That's the chant the fans love to sing along.
You need an artificial
and your feelings. How are you feeling about your chances?
My feelings are that I'm concerned how low to the ground my team are and how high above the ground that filthy disease bat is going to be.
All right. And Robin, how are you feeling about your chances?
Tom, a mammal is a warm-blooded vertebrate with fur and hair, distinguished by females that secrete milk for the nourishment of their young. And today, that milk is going to be the milk of victory. My mammals are going to be supping from the teat of victory today as they smash the reptiles into the cold-blooded floor.
Robin, I felt so good about your chances until you just said that whole bit about supping milk, and now
From the nipples.
I think you're probably going to
From
lose.
the teats, they're going to be supping.
Stop.
I don't have nipples. That's the reptile catchphrase.
If there's one thing to take away from this podcast, it's that Matt doesn't have nipples. There's only one thing left to do, ladies and gentlemen, and that's see this match. It's time for kickoff. Welcome to the giant terrarium in Warsaw's Galeria shopping mall. It's humid conditions inside this massive glass box, and you've got to think that favours the home team.
The reptiles have been warming up, quite literally, under the heat lamps for the past 4 hours, so they are able to move their combined 12 legs.
That's 8 less than the mammal side, who have come in at a combined 20 legs. 1 minute silence before kickoff in memory of Harambe.
And there's the whistle, and King Cobra with the kickoff. Well, head off.
Pig being a bit selfish in possession here. He's really hogging the ball.
He's lost it now, though. Poor control as Leatherback Turtle snaps it away.
Pig complained to the referee. He's always swining about something.
I don't know! Out of nowhere, Python is crushing delicious Pig to death, sharing his meal with the opposition striker, Bengal Tiger.
That's nice to see the sportsmanship between the two teams.
But Pig is dead. Due to players from both teams enjoying the meat, the referee hasn't actually sent anyone off. That's remarkable.
Rat coming on to replace the devoured bones of Pig.
Gorilla distracted by his reflection in the glass of the terrarium, and that could be a problem as he throws around his own feces and giggles. Oh, he's launched some of it into the crowd.
The shit really has hit the fan.
Awful stuff, but he has managed to lob a long ball forward to Tiger, who's been part of this Mammals team now for 3 seasons.
Oh, he's really earned his stripes.
Here's the bearded dragon, Shabby Bonzo, scuttling up the pitch at a rapid 25 miles an hour, but he's dispossessed by Rat, the substitute who can, of course, travel at least 10 times that speed.
Leatherback Turtle just labouring away. As in she's literally in labour, just popping out eggs by the dozen. There's little white balls all over the place, but oh no, this distraction plan has backfired as King Cobra and Python are chowing down on the eggy delights. Even Mongoose is joining in the maternity ward buffet line.
Flying Fox whips in a corner for the visitors, and a Ronaldo-like leap from Tiger to head home. Mammals really taking advantage of the reptiles' lack of ability in the air. You've really got to feel for Giraffe, who didn't even make the squad.
It's 1-0 Mammals, but it does look like there's been an off-the-ball incident. Mongoose chatting back to King Cobra, and Mongoose has gone for Cobra's throat, shaking him about, and the ref is struggling to control this game.
Oh, he's had to blow the whistle for half-time to quell the argument as the head of Gucci's design team wanders over to Crocodile to see if they can use his ass as a wallet.
Always good to have a financial plan if your sporting career goes on.
And it's English breakfast and cucumber sandwiches for the Mammals as requested by the Tiger, who came for tea.
Back underway here in Warsaw. The patched up Cobra slithers into the box, and Gorilla has found a traditional snake charming pungi. Cobra is utterly enchanted by the distracting display of musical talent. Rat manages to clear the ball.
Great teamwork from the Mammals.
The ball is whipped into the reptile box again, and Tiger another great leap. He's got so much raw talent. It's deflected in off one of the dangling loops of Python. The big cat's done it. Wow. It's 2-0 to Mammals FC.
Desperate Leaf Chameleon comes on to replace Leatherback Turtle now.
This smacks of desperation to me. Flying Fox swooping down and catches the clearance from Saltwater Crocodile's tail.
Oh no, Flying Fox has dropped her baby who she was previously clutching.
It is sacrifices like that it takes to get to the top of this game.
Flying Fox with a long effort, and it's in!
Oh, the defence was totally distracted as Saltwater Crocodile was busy turning the baby bat into a snack.
The baby wasn't technically a player, so it's not a cardable offence for Saltwater Crocodile.
It's 3-0 Mammals. Oh dear. Silverback Gorilla was about to take a goal kick and he has stood on Desperate Leaf Chameleon. The 3-centimetre lizard was perfectly camouflaged and is now entirely dead. It's a yellow card for the entirely accidental murder and a penalty for the Reptiles.
Shabby Bonzo steps up. And Silverback Gorilla, still shaken from crushing an adorable chameleon, dives the wrong way. Shabby Bonzo, the bearded dragon, gets one back.
It's a consolation goal at this point for the Reptiles, both in terms of the match and for the loss of life. It's all over. There's the final whistle. A bloody, brutal match.
Well, that'll happen when you let wild animals loose on a football pitch.
It sure will, sir.
It's back to the studio.
What a game! It's 3-1 to the Mammals. Let's get reactions from the managers. Matt, how are you feeling, mate? Not
feeling good about the defeat, but I am feeling okay that only one of my main players died and a handful of baby eggs.
What a positive to take from it. Robin, how are you feeling? A win!
Oh, he's finally done it, Tom. 3 teams in. Listen, like my Mammals, the blood is warm. My teats are buoyant with the frothy milk of victory. It's a win. It's a win for nipples all round. Everyone's nipples have won. Here's to us and our nipples.
Well, I wish that hadn't happened, but it is my duty to update the leaderboard. The league standings among the Noise Next Door Fantasy 5. At the top of the league right now, it's me on 6 points. And then, in joint second, Matt, Sam and Robin all have 3 points. It's still all to play for, people, as we carry on with our thrilling title race. Please let us know what you thought of today's teams or the result on social media. We are at Noise Next Door on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the lot. We would love to hear from you. Also, do subscribe to Fantasy 5 on your preferred podcast provider. And if you can, give us those 5 stars. We need them.
Next time on Fantasy 5, it is a special episode commemorating both simultaneously Mother's Day and St. Patrick's Day. That's right, it's the vintage battle of mothers versus Ireland.
It's gonna be a big one. We'll see you then. It's time for us to hit the showers.
Wait, what's that bit?
It's me, I'm doing the Mongoose.
Stop it.
I mean,
Nailed it.